back to Fuzzy's Kitchen. Today we're going to cover my family's meatloaf recipe that they probably found on the back of a Heinz 57 bottle probably 30 years ago. But anyway, it's super simplistic. A lot of people like to put various vegetables and stuff mixed in their meat. This is really just a base recipe, so go ahead and make it your own, add your own stuff, add your suggestions in the comments section below, and make it your own. There's also an option you could use turkey meat instead if you want to make it healthier. But anyway, without further ado, the bill of materials, it's really just ground beef. We use ground round because it has an 85-15 lean to fat ratio, which really gives it you enough quality meat, but gives you enough fat to really give it a lot of flavor. You're also going to use just eggs, Heinz 57, Italian breadcrumbs, and then I'm using Jack Daniel's wood chips. If you do choose to go with turkey, try to use like a fruit base or nut base, like a pecan wood instead. It'll complement that white meat a little bit better. So it's worth noting that the recipe usually calls for a pound of ground beef, and with that it's a 1/3 cup ketchup, 2/3 breadcrumbs, and then 1 egg. Since we're doing about 1.4 pounds, we're going to measure out slightly more to make it proportional. And it's really more of a feel, so once it feels real pasty, that's when you'll know you have the right mix, so you kind of have to eyeball it. So we're going to get this prepared. We're going to put it in a pan, and then basically we're going to cook it on the egg at 350 for about an hour to an hour and 20 minutes. And then you want to let it rest for about 30 minutes to firm up so it doesn't fall apart when you slice it. So next up, we're going to put together all the materials to make our loaf. All right, so I know I said before it was about 1.4 pounds. It's actually about 2.44 pounds, so I kind of messed that up earlier. But anyway, we went ahead and we measured out all the components. So in proportion to how much extra meat we're doing, it's about 2.5 eggs. It's a little bit more than 5/3 Italian breadcrumbing, and then it's a little bit more than 2/3 ketchup. So I already measured that out. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna combine it. So we're gonna start with the meat. We're just going to go ahead and plop the lot of it in, like so. Make sure there's no backing on it. Perfect. All right. Pack it. As A, we enjoy the leftovers, but B, it really keeps it moister if you do a bigger lot. You can do the 1 pound, but I find it kind of dries it out more. So I like to err on the side of having more than necessary, and then if you want to make meatloaf sandwiches or throw the extra meat in some omelets later in the week, it's all excellent. So now we're going to add the eggs. And really the key here is just pop all the yolks. That'll help it mix better. You could whisk it if you choose to. If you don't pop the yolks, then it's harder to mix all of it in together. All right, so that is good like that. My wife will yell at me for that more than likely. All right, so just go ahead and mix it in real good. And then once you kind of got it a little bit mixed in, you can go ahead and start adding your others. And it doesn't have to be perfect because you're going to do so much mixing of stuff once you get all the components in there. You just want to make sure, though, that you do work all the ingredients in well. So now we're going to add our breadcrumbs. Just try to evenly distribute it over the top. Again, you're going to be doing so much mixing, it's not going to really matter. All right. What you'll notice is it was really moist with the egg. Now it's really going to thicken up and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, it's so thick, it's going to be dry and gross. It's kind of like sandpaper. I don't know if it's going to be recoverable, but you'll be surprised how much all of that ketchup will really moisten the whole thing through. And your goal, again, is to get like a real pasty consistency. It should be enough where it kind of holds form when you hold it up, but it really starts drooping after about 1.5 to 3 seconds, and then that's when you'll know it's about the right consistency. If you have it any stickier and any firmer than that, it's going to be super dry. And if you have any moister than that, where it's like a mud castle, like it just plops, it's not going to hold together when you slice it. So it's all about trying to find that happy medium. So now we're going to come in with the ketchup. And again, it's all about eyeballing. If you don't hit that consistency in your first try, it's not a big deal. I rarely do. You just kind of eyeball and just start adding bits and pieces of the ketchup and the breadcrumb. Don't add any more egg. The egg is pretty consistent, but it's all about counterbalancing. If it needs to be moister, add a little bit more ketchup. If it needs to be drier, add a dab of more seasoning, and then you should be good to go. So we're going to give this another mix. And you really need to get it good and in there. Just don't roll the meat in it. I mean, you gotta push it all in. It's really gross. A lot of people don't have a stomach to do this, but I kind of find it soothing in a really weird way. So yeah, I think this is actually going to end up being a pretty good consistency on the first try. We'll see. Still have some mixing we need to do. All right. And again, you can add, this is the stage right now when you would add in vegetables or chorizo or, go crazy with it. Add some jalapeno, make it a Southwestern style. You can do whatever you want here, but you do want to make it when it's in the loaf form, because once you have this loaf in the egg, you are pretty much committed at that point. And I said egg. You can also do oven. It'll be about 350 degrees for an hour to hour 20 minutes pretty consistently. On the egg, it's going to be a little bit more touchy-feel. You're going to have to just make sure the consistency looks right when you pull it off, that you cooked it enough. I actually feel really good about this consistency. You can see, you can kind of hold it. It's kind of starting to droop. That means it's still moist enough where it's not going to dry out, but it's still holding enough form where, it's going to be pretty juicy when we cut into it. So no further ado, this is pretty much it. We're going to take this out of here and put it in the pan. You can use any type of pan. We have the perfect pan. We got it at a CVS as seen on TV thing, and we're obsessed with it. But whatever pan you use, just make sure you use pan or butter or something that basically allows it to come off easy. And then, yeah, we're just going to put that on the egg and treat the egg like a convection oven. And we're going to smoke it with Jack Daniel's wood chips. So next time you see me, we're going to be putting it on the egg when the fire's ready. All right, so once you get up to about 350 degrees, you're going to add your wood chips in. And you're just going to want to equally distribute it. You don't want to choke out the flames or anything. So give it a good stir. All right, once you get that going, you just want to put your meatloaf on indirect on the top. Grill grate. You're going to close it up and let it go for about anywhere between an hour and hour 20 minutes. Since this is a bigger cut, we're going to let this thing go ahead and go for about an hour and 20 minutes. So we'll check back in when it's done. So after about an hour and 10 minutes, we reached past 165 degrees, so we pulled it out. Now we're actually going to pull it out of the pan. We're going to leave it on a cutting board for at least 30 minutes to kind of solidify. It's crucial that you do this because the rapid cooling of the meat will actually allow it to slice cleanly when you actually slice it for serving. All right, so it's been sitting here for about 30 minutes, so we're going to cut into it. It was extra moist, obviously, because it was on the big green egg. Usually we do this on the oven, but it should be even better and more moist doing that. So you'll see it should slice pretty well here. Yep, and that's exactly what we want to see. You'll see the red ring right there is a smoke ring from the Jack Daniel's. Obviously it's only on the top part because it was in an enclosed bin, so it should have a lot of smoky flavor. So I'll just kind of take a little chunk off of this, give it a try. Super moist, much more moist than it is when I do it in the oven. Smoke ring actually adds a lot of flavor. It actually has a sweeter taste than normal. I think it's because the egg actually causes a lot of the ketchup to actually boil up toward the top, so it actually has a lot more of a ketchupy taste than normal. But really, really good. Highly recommend this recipe. Have fun with it. Add your own ingredients inside. It should be delicious. Enjoy.